Hello, people. Good evening. How's everyone? How's everyone doing? Hello, Letho. Hello, True. Nice to see you here. Today, what are we doing today, people? We're doing feedback. That's right. I'm turning the camera to you. It's your turn. It's your turn to be in the ringer. I was having some technical difficulties before, but all is well now. So, on my Discord, I told you guys, I suggested if anyone wants feedback and paint overs and to get a review from me, you could just put your whatever art you want there and I'll review it on stream. So that's what we did. And that's what we will be reviewing today. So, I had some time to warm up. I'm kind of nervous, not gonna lie. Just being real with you guys. But we're here. We got 3 pieces to review. The first one is from Askell. Now, I'm not sure if you're here already, Askell. Let's go. Drawing today. Us in the spotlight. What? No. It's true. I'm turning that shit to you, okay? Fuck, I already cursed. Not good. Whatever. You guys can handle it. So, I'm just waiting to see if Askell is in the chat. So we can start. Let me send him a message. Okay. Okay. We're here. We're set. So, the first piece is this one, right? Askell. Now, they accompany the piece with a text. They said, made this drawing of Bridget from Guilty Gear as a Castlevania character a while ago. Now I look at it and the values seem off. And pretty much all the render feels the same. Okay. So what we're tackling is values, rendering. That's pretty much it, right? So how I'm going to organize this is I'm going to do some paint over first. Hello. Askell, hello, Dark Eater. Nice to see you here. I'm going to do some paint over first, and then I'm going to talk. Okay? So one thing that we can do to start is we can start by looking for something similar, some reference that's similar, right? And I got just a pure ref for it. I usually have a pure ref for like styles of art, you know? I just like to have like a pure ref dedicated to splash art, a pure ref dedicated to concept art. Usually I do one per project, but I have like a big one for just splash arts and things like that. You know, it's just helpful. Helpy. It's just helpy. Right. So let's get started. My goodness, I'm all over the place. Hello, screens. Nice to see you here. Right. So the first thing I see is the values, right? It seems like the values are a little bit, they're a little bit like flat. If they feel a little flat sometimes, you know, like let's turn this black and white. for example. And you do have contrast on her, which I like. You know, you do have like a silhouette on her. But you see there's some areas where it kind of bleeds into the background, like this area, you know? Like it kind of bleeds into the background even in black and white. And it feels like you will, the point of this is to be kind of a rim light, right? So it enhances the silhouette, but what's doing is it's sort of making her bleed into the background. So what reads from afar is like this sharp angle over here is where the silhouette ends, kind of thing, right? So let's try and tackle that first. Let's see. And one splash art that I really like to use a lot of times, because I just think it's so nice. It's this Kled painting. Oh, no, 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 no. Don't do that. Oh, shit. I thought I shared my things for a second. Don't do that. That's not good. Is it me or does it seem like the arm on the right? Sorry. Hi, do you do NFTs? Right. I don't do NFTs. Thank you for asking, Doodle. I'm always here. Do you draw rocket ships? I never drawn a rocket ship, no. But, you know, I'm one to try. Is it me or does it seem like the arm on the right side of the screen is on the cusp of being the same shade of blue as the shirt? Or is it just my eyes? Sure, but that doesn't stop anything, right? Hello, Elia. Oh my god, let me get started. You know, I'm avoiding it because I'm scared. But I shouldn't be. I should just, like, get to it, right? Right. So, one thing that I like to do a lot of times is get a reference that has the same vibe as the painting, you know? And this one, it's kind of like dark, sort of like gothic vibe going for this one, right? So I picked this one. It's kind of goofy, but if you really look at it, it's kind of like, you know, it's like nighttime and you got the moon and things like that. So I think that's a good start. So don't be afraid to color pick from splash art, you know, whatever gets you there, whatever gets you to do the painting you want to do. Don't let that stop you. So I'm going to do some paint over and then I'll explain my decisions a little bit more for you. You know, just because I have a hard time, you know, it's the first one and I have a hard time sometimes figuring stuff out. A rocket ship like this. Okay. All right. I do like how you framed her. I really like dramatic framing like this. I think it's really cool. I think it sets a very graphic, you know, imagery in the character. I think it's really nice. So, are you doing a crit? Yes, I am. Today is crit day. This is the first time I've done it live. I've done a bunch of crits already over time. You know, people ask for help. I tend to help. But doing it live feels a little more nerve-wracking to me, I'm gonna be honest. So I was dreading it a little bit throughout the day. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so first things that I'm noticing. So usually when doing these illustrations, what tends to happen is the lighting seems to come from light sources within the illustration. Hello, Max. Nice to see you here. So the lighting tends to come from within the illustration. So for example, you have this rim light on this character from the moon, right? And you also have something of a blooming light coming from within him. Like it's coming from within, almost like it's coming from the camera, right? Same as here. Like this light that's shining here, it's something that comes directly from the camera. It's directly impacted from the camera to the characters, right? So that's something that I see a lot of people do or forget or not notice, and it's something that is crucial in the splash art look, I feel like. Another thing that I'm noticing is so this fur, for example, this fur is white, right? It's a white fur. And what is happening is that it's getting a lot of bleed from all different kinds of light sources. But it's kind of changing very drastically, like too drastically, the color, you know? So we're just going to soften that up a little bit more as well. And I know I changed the background to blue as well. I know, right? It's nerve-wracking. Yeah, it is. So I'm just softening those transitions a little bit more so we can have more of a natural shift from one color to the other, right? And what you've noticed is I've added a lot of purple and a lot of warm colors in the foreground so we can create a nice transition or a nice contrast, not only in value, but as well in color to the background, right? And the same thing I feel like with blonde hair that tends to happen a lot of times is that it feels like it almost works as a metal for some people. But I think with blonde hair, you gotta be careful to not over, to not like let other colors influence it too much, you know? Is this where I can get free art advice? I guess it is, yeah. Oh shoot, my bad. So I tend to shift it more towards brown and like warm brown, you know? And then let the blonde shine through. So we'll see where this gets us. I'm just trying to focus on making a good painting, and then I'll explain everything. I keep saying this, but, you know. So same thing with the face. I see that you're doing it already, you know. Like this light that you put here is coming from the camera, right? But then you have like this rim light that feels like it's coming from behind her, but the hair is not catching that light. So what we could do, I really like that idea of the light catching through the hair. So I'm just going to take that and like really go ham on it, you know? So this is more about focusing the light spots where it's relevant, right? So usually it's the face, and then you have like parts of the outfit shining through, you know? And all is around the fact that there's a light next to the camera. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make her a little more so I'm deleting that light for now, but I'm gonna bring it back. And I feel like this light right now, this like warm, how, okay, oh my god. Um, It is inevitable to learn something when Laura's watching. When watching Laura. Thank you. Can you draw my cousin's son, Uncle Dog? He will love it. Um, no. I'm sorry. I'm sure he won't mind. The dog won't know. How much would you care about physics principles like the rim light can never be brighter than the light source? I think I think I don't really think about it, you know? I feel like at some point you kind of have to have some there's a term for it. I'm forgetting now. But you kind of have to pretend that things kind of work this way, you know? Cuz it looks better. If it looks good, then it's good, you know? But I think there's some truth to those principles that you can apply and it will look good. But if you feel like it doesn't really fit, if the rules aren't working in your advantage, then you know, whatever. The rules are made to work for you. I just got here. Hello, Rodrigo. Big stream. When Laura is watching, yeah. Please don't watch me, Laura. I'd be scared. Artistic liberties? Yeah, artistic liberties, but it's like there was another term. I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting what the term is. I'm just gonna add a little bit. One thing that I want to do with this painting is I want to set contrast not only in values but as well with color. So like I want to make the background bright and I want to make her dark, you know? And I know that she has a lot of bright parts in her, like the blonde hair and the light skin and things like that, but still, because she's in dark, we can make that work, you know? Taking some artistic liberty like forced perspective. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So let's see. I want to create. So you see how making the background kind of like more bluish and making her more dark has given us sort of like a more contrasty situation. And it's mostly in her face, right? Because her face is it's so bright. Like she's light skinned, her hair is really light. It creates all this situation where it becomes complicated to create these contrasts. So it's a very valid, you know, thing to. And it, you know, the fact that you picked it up, it's really good. Because sometimes I remember, like, I used to get so stuck with the idea that, like, yeah, our hair is bright, so it must be brighter than anything else, you know? And it's so hard to sometimes move away from those preconceived ideas that you have. And because the moon is not white, we can actually make this rim light a little brighter as well. And we can create the silhouette on her. And even play a little bit with it, you know, to create some depth. Let me see something. Okay. And with her being so like in the dark, we can even make some special effects if you want, you know, it's not necessary, but we could even make some special effects where our eyes are really glowy, you know? There's like room for that. Um, do you usually work from soft to hard edges or hard to soft? Tend to use soft round very often to start off paintings. But I don't know if it's a good habit to have, honestly. It has worked in my advantage for a lot of things, but to my disadvantage in some as well, you know? Because when you do soft edges, you gotta go over everything at the end, you know? So it becomes kind of conflicting. It really is a personal choice. If you can work with soft, go for it. I prefer it because I just like how the colors bleed together, you know? Like it's way easier to find how to make colors with soft round, I feel like. So for example, what I'm doing now is I'm sort of creating this fake rim light over here. Then I'm gonna pop it with a little bit. That doesn't look good. Let's take it back. Listen, I'm allowed to make mistakes as well, okay? Let's see. I kind of don't like that, guys. What the hell? I'm fucking it up. Oh, that looks better. Um, Hello, Errol. I've seen people do both. I'm not particularly good at either yet. Yeah, it's something that you gotta build, honestly. Right. So, for now, right, we got doing contrast more with. So, yeah. Okay, so because the light comes from the camera, you get to create the silhouette around her, right? That's kind of the base of what we were talking about. And this goes for everything in the outfit, right? For the gloves, for everything. You will be just adding more and more contrast between the background and her, right? Remembering always to put light in the middle. You know what I mean? And especially the face, because the face is the focal point for a lot of these types of illustrations, right? So having the face be really contrasty really helps you. Like little areas where you can get away with it, you should add contrast, and interest to that particular point. Can you draw me and my dog? No. I know you're fucking with me, Doodle. Why are you doing this? I think managing well the soft and hard edges is one of the hardest things in painting. At least for me, I have a hard time concentrating, so it's hard to determine that stuff while I'm painting. Yeah, that's true. It is. Jesus, what is with all people asking for the goddamn dog drawing? I know. What the hell? I mean, I know them. That's why they're doing it. They just love their dogs, okay? Can you draw my cat? Her name is Princess. That's beautiful. Beautiful, cute name. That being said, I'm not drawing your cat. So sorry. But hey, you can draw yourself, right? Because you're an artist. You can get away with it. About the rendering. With rendering, I think a lot of the rendering like learning that you can do it by via having sort of a library for specific materials. So for fur, for example, I don't know if this is specifically the art style that you want, but League of Legends has a lot of materials in their splash arts that are so helpful to imitate. And I say imitate, what I mean is copy. You know, you look at it very closely, and you just analyze it how it is, right? So in this one you have fur, this one as well, and with fur material specifically, it's all about pretending that there's a lot of detail, you know? If you really look closely, this material is not that complicated, right? It's just a gradient from dark to light, you know? You have this. And then you have like a pretend detail. You sprinkle a little detail here and there, and it makes it seem like it's a more complicated texture than it actually is, right? Same with here. It's more of a gradient, and then it's sprinkled with little details here and there. So that's what we're gonna do for this fur as well, you know? And that is a lot of the basis for texture. I need to read the chat more often. They just love their dogs. Can you draw my cat? Her name is Princess. What about my dog, though? If I had a dog, would you draw it? I would not. Okay, they are messing with you. I know they're messing with me. True. Yeah, a league style is what I would like to do. Okay, that's good. That's good because that's what I specify in. I feel like, you know? So, for the fur, what you have is it feels like a very realistic sort of rough rendering that has a lot of little details, you know, speckled up in a lot of places. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna simplify the shape in this build that you have for this fur, and we're gonna see what we can come up with. I want to warm it up a little bit. And I love this painting. It's so nice. You know? One thing with material rendering that I feel like I'm also like need to be more cautious of is keeping the values as they are, you know? Because like this fur is white, and it's supposed to be white even at its darkest, you know? Like it's never gonna be like pure black, right? It's always gonna be a little lighter. So that's something to consider as well. So we're gonna do the big gradient. We're gonna start with a big gradient of the colors that we want for the fur. That feels nice. You know? And we're gonna determine its shape. I like the more rounded shape you had actually. And then we're gonna go in and add all those little details. And when I say little, I mean, you know, it's kind of the idea of medium, big, medium, small again, right? That I always mention. You start off with the big shapes. Let me darken this a little bit. You start off with the big shapes, and then you move on to the smaller and smaller details. And then you can stop whenever you feel is right, you know? And we can even, you know, I advise everyone to do this. Just copy an area or a part of the painting that you like and put it next to you for reference. Always use reference, always. You know. Hello everyone. Hello R2. Hello R2. Can you draw my cat? No. Good. My goodness, you guys are not letting that joke go. It's staying here, if you can help it. Oh, whoopsies. Okay, how long have we been going? Because I don't wanna hold up too much for each, because I gotta get in time for everyone. I draw my cat. I don't have a cat. Okay. I'm following the same idea over here. Just shifting the gradient a little bit, making it right. So, with that being said, let me know if you have any questions though. If I'm going too fast or too slow, you know, let me know. So now that we have the fur, right, we can organize the rest of the materials just like that as well. We always start with the big decisions first. I draw my dog sometimes, but she only gets to exist. Guys, what the hell is this? Laura, leave mine for later. I have to go give my parents their lunch. I want to see what you say about it. Okay, I will. Rodrigo. So Max, you're next. As I was saying, make the big decisions first, always. Decide on the gradient that you're going to pick for the specific material, you know? So in this case, the belt, it's going to be like darker here and closer and lighter here because the camera is in the, the light is in the camera, as we said. And then we're gonna start adding more detail on top. I can draw it too as a cat. What about drawing? Oh my god, you guys are killing me. Look at the chat. I'm gonna stop looking if you guys keep this up. I don't want to see it anymore. And with leather as well, this type of leather, there's a lot of references for leather in Legends of Runeterra. I'm sure you know about it. Amazing. What do you think I am, a professional? I do. I do think you're a professional. Why don't you guys draw gorillas? They're fun to draw. Don't draw me as a cat. Okay. Now that you said that, I'm sure you won't. And I like this like light that you put here. I think it's really cool because at some point the light shines through, right? Like the shadow stops. Let me see what the color you picked. I like this color. Sort of like she's fucking it up. We gotta stop teasing. We swear we do it because we think Laura's cool. I speak for everyone. Right? I'm sure some people would disagree, but I can live with it. Ah, I clicked the wrong thing. Oh my god. Now my Photoshop's gonna stop for like 100 years. Okay. I like the hand that you did. It's a nice pose. Oh my gosh. What the hell? Oh, I see. She's holding. Okay. One thing about color that I'll say is that whenever you need to transition from one color to the other, usually the rule of thumb that I do is I use the color, the base color that I'm using. For this case, it's this one. And then to brighten it, I go up and left. So like I make it brighter and less saturated, and I move it up in the U. In the U, yeah, the U. That's what it's called. So like, and I'll always like, so for example, like this one, right? You have this one, this color as a base. And then they've sort of like moved up, in the U and left. And left to lighten it up, right? So you see how it shifts? That's a rule of thumb that you can follow. And also the inverse, for the opposite, I suppose. I don't think so. If people don't like you, it's just because they're jealous, SMH. I'm there on time. Let's go. Hello, pal. So I'm just following the same rule. What's facing towards the camera gets brighter, and what's facing not towards the camera gets darker, right? Please do stop me when you feel that it's like, okay, I've had enough. Thank you. Do not say anything anymore. One thing about nighttime scenes that I'm kind of figured out recently is that the background is usually kind of bright, especially when the moonlight hits, because you want to focus the contrast more on the character. So what tends to happen is the background gets foggy and things tend to get lighter. So the night sky in illustrations like League of Legends tends to be a lot brighter than you'd think, right? Same thing with underwater illustrations as well. So, oh Christ, what did I do? Kind of want to see a little bit of her cape here, I'm not doing your hands justice. I understand that. We're just rolling with the punches right now. Okay. If someone dares to stop her from drawing, I'm eating you. I ain't gonna blink if I miss a thing. Consider me dead. Jesus Christ, pal. Okay. So I think this might be it. I know it's not the cleanest painting for you, but I hope it helps. I hope it helps you. You know, let me know if you have any questions, and I can help you go through them, even if it's not right now. You know. It helped a lot. Thank you so much. I'm glad. Okay. So, creating contrast. The main takeaway is the light from the camera, right? When you add that, and you kind of already have it in some areas, you know, in the face, I can tell, in here as well, you know. And I would like, because I kind of like how you made her light from above as well. I kind of like that choice as well. I didn't pick that up just for sake of simplicity's sake, but don't consider it a bad thing, is what I mean. So, I'm gonna, oh Christ, I didn't save this. Hold on, let me just hide my screen for a little bit, guys. Don't go anywhere, I'm still here. I'm just scared of what might happen when I save the file, because I got NDA and I got to protect myself. Feedback. There you go. Okay, we're back. Hello. So, on to the next one, which will be Max. Right? Oh no, Jordan. Jordan, you're it. Now, is Jordan around? Because I know Rodrigo wanted me to do his, but I don't think he submitted one. Let me check. Christ alive. Guys, today is kind of messy, huh? I'm kind of all over the place, am I not? Right, so, Jordan, are you here? Jordan, I call your name. Or is Jordan Rodrigo? And am I tripping? Fuck. I literally can't tell. Because I'm streamer mode and I don't see the full name. Okay. Let's move on to Max then. Max. Are you here, Max? Are you with us? Let me save this, group this up, and do it like this. So, with Max, it's a creature design. It's not really fitting the canvas right now, but it will. And with this, I kind of have a hard time, I'm going to be honest, to feedback things like this, but I will try my best. But again, take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, Jordan is Rodrigo. So we're going to do that next. So with this one, I kind of have a hard time to, you know, really tell you, like, do this, do that. But again, I will try my best. Because I'm not the best at creature design, I'm going to be honest. You got a lot more knowledge than me. But what I do know is, I guess, shape design, you know? So let me just do some paint over and then I'll speak. How are you guys doing, by the way? I didn't ask you. That was kind of rude of me. What are you guys working on right now? That looks cool. Unique stuff. It is, yeah. I always admire creature designers, I'm gonna be honest, because you guys are like fairies or druids to me. I've said this before and I'll say it again. You know? You just know your shit. Malmec is max. Yeah. Malmec is max. That looks so cool. Yeah. So one thing that I found that I could do was change the tail, honestly, because then by doing this change, you kind of create sort of an elongated situation, you know, you kind of elongate the shapes that it has, and you maintain the tail, the idea of the tail, right? Those creature kind of like the paws kind of feel like gorilla paws in a way, like they walk with their knuckles almost. So that's cool. Uh, my day became splendid when I saw the stream, even though I can't stay long. Well, I'm glad to have you here, pal. Concepting some stuff at the moment. Want to do some character designs? That's cool. I love doing character designs. It's my favorite. Man. Oh, by the way, there's the character design challenge. I always forget it exists. It happens every month, and somehow I always forget, right? Uh, it's based on the ground sloth. That's cool. I know very little about that creature. I really like the patterns that you picked. I'm thinking we can continue the patterns a little bit over the tail. And maybe even do some of this red like speckled into another area, you know, to create sort of a pattern. Or like not a pattern, but well, I don't know how to describe that, if not as a pattern. As opposed to flying sloth. Nasty creatures. Yeah. Are they nasty? Are they like pieces of shit that throw like poop at people? I really like this, how you make this texture. It's so, like how you photo bashed that. It's so nice. Let me see. I don't want to fuck up the pause. I'm thinking we can light that a little bit. That way it creates sort of like depth, you know, depth of field. This one go back. This one go forward. Actually, let me flip that. Let's see. And right now what I'm doing is just I'm posing it and I'm shifting little things around rather than change the design per se. But I'm just changing the design here and there a little bit. It's not photo bashed, it's a brush. Oh wow, that's really cool then. Oh yeah, I can see it now. Wow, damn, it looks photo bashed. It's crazy. Let me see the pause again. So let me lighten this a little bit. Oh my gosh, this brush, I swear to God. And let me... So it has sort of a muscle here. Then it goes like this. And we can pick this back, this paw, back here. I'm just gonna make it maybe a little bigger. Sort of bleed it into the arm. Sloths and koalas are rancid creatures full of moss and disease. Love them. I'll stick to chihuahuas. Thank you very much. I really like this head shape, this head design that you did though. It's so cool. Like the fact that it doesn't have eyes, or visible eyes at least. It's very cool. So what I'm gonna do, let me see what I can come up with for the horns. I'm not gonna change the distribution per se. Okay, so there's two in the front. There's two side ones. I'm gonna pick up colors, because one thing that I notice is that these colors feel very detached from the rest, and even if it's a realistic drawing, I think it's better to work within the same family of colors as the one you have in the rest of the picture, right? Because that way it feels like it all belongs in the same place, you know? So like if we're gonna do darker brown, we're gonna pick up from this brown here and we're gonna make it sort of like the transition color. You know what I mean? It's giving tarantula a little bit with those tusks. Yeah. The little paws that they have next to their face. We could even create sort of like the same sort of like mohawk that it has at the top. It feels like kind of a buffalo as well, like the way it has that fur around its face, you know, and how it has a heavier, feels like it has a heavier top, you know. Feels kind of like a buffalo in that way. Do you see what I mean? And I like this sort of, I don't know, I like this texture as well. Oh, I wonder if we can put it down here. That way we create another, because I feel like this part is kind of like a big. I guess you didn't have it as big, right? I fucked it up in that way. But we can create sort of like a small pocket of medium size shape. Right? Gives me kind of right. Gives me gorilla vibes, so a lot of upper body strength. The stream shouldn't be free to watch. Better take the most of it. It's free. It's free to watch. This is my first time doing it live, so to the people who are being reviewed, take everything as you will. You don't even have to apply it if you don't want to, honestly. I'm giving you this, but you do with it what you will. This is just my take. Doesn't mean it's the right take. We're an artist after all. Right, so that's kind of what I had to say. Let me see. Let me see something. Oh, frick. I like this like leathery texture that you did for the tail. So I want to do that as well. It's great advice. Here already feels more dynamic. I'm glad it's helping. You could even add like this fur like over here or something if you want, whatever. The tail is up to you, really. It was more about the shape than anything else. But having this texture only in the tail, I feel like it's missing something. Maybe you could continue this fur on top. That could be nice. And then it kind of fades out a little bit, So yeah. That's pretty much it. She says as she keeps painting. Yeah. Right, so that's Max's paint over. Hope it helped. But I really like the creature. Really unique. Really cool. Can't wait to see your creature designs in a game like Horizon or something like that. Thank you. Thank you, Max. So next we got Rodrigo. Now, is Rodrigo here? Because if not, we're going to go on to a new one that we got that is really cool as well. I don't think Rodrigo's here still. So, this is from Vapor Tsunami. I don't dislike this, but I feel like it's very imbalanced, both in values and in composition. Right. I like the composition, I'm going to be honest. I enjoy this composition. The values, I do feel like it's kind of dark, so we're going to tackle that, right? And we're going to pick up the illustrations that we had before. Always have reference next to you, It's so helpful to have it. What do you lose? I like how graphic-y it is. Oh, sorry, I don't know if you're here, actually, Vapor. I'm going to message you on Discord. Critique submissions. you around. Oh, you're here. Hi. Sorry, I didn't recognize your name. You were like screaming, "Stop! Do not message me." Just under a different name. Yeah. So for this one, the main, it's kind of conflicting because I do like how bright the cape is, how it's being underlit by the city, and how it creates this like very dynamic and graphic shape. I think it's so cool. And if I lighten the background, it will become sort of more, it will just become like less impactful, that thing, you know? But the parts that I'm concerned with are sort of like this area over here, right? That it's kind of bleeding into the background a little bit, I suppose. So in values, honestly, I'm kind of scared of lighting the background because I feel like it's so graphic and so cool. Whatever, let's try it. Let's try to do it. One thing that I'm seeing in your painting is that you use saturation a lot and it feels a little oversaturated in some areas. Like when you look at the colors in the U cube, you can't see my U cube. Oh fuck, you can't see my U cube. Why did no one tell me that? I just didn't think my piece would be critiqued so soon. Oh yeah. I talk too much shit on YouTube to let people recognize me. um, so if you check the U-cube, you are using the maximum saturation, And I like that in some areas. I think it's really cool how you did it in the cape. But for it to be saturated everywhere, it can become a little like exhausting to the eye to not have a place to rest. So we're gonna just kick it back a little bit and maybe lighten it a little bit, just so those areas of saturation can really pop. And it's not a thing that's necessarily true for like all occasions. I think you can definitely do an illustration that's very saturated in a lot of areas, and it looks very good. So it really is up to your personal taste a lot of times. So what I'm doing now is just I'm creating this lighter part in the painting where you can create an horizon line as well. Because part of the dynamic of this piece is the fact that it's you know, it's got the Dutch angle and it's so like it's so like action pose. So it's really cool. My music stopped. Let me get it back. Where are the bars? What the fuck? Are they drinking again? Stop this. Saturated colors are cool. Okay. Well. I will kill you, R2. On the spot. Ooh, what we could do with this is like the clouds being kind of like enhancing the pose as well, a little bit. It could be like action lines almost. And then in the background, we can have sort of like the cityscape. Um, you can have a rhythm of saturated slash desaturated. Yeah. Like just as value, structure, and composition is sort of a puzzle of where to put what and where, you know? Like you, when you want high contrast, you put really dark color next to really light color. Just as with that, you can play that with saturation as well. Do you know what I mean? So, because this cape is gathering so much light, I'd focus this brighter yellow around his face more. Because you know, it's a graphic, almost a graphic choice, so we can really pretend with it, you know? And we can bleed this color onto his face a little more. And I want to see this color a little bit more spread out as well. Let me see. So by making the buildings a little bit more orange, you kind of spread out the color and it doesn't become, you know, it's the keep it within the family kind of thing. You keep the whole piece within the family of colors that you've picked for this, right? And you did a good job by picking this sort of orangey pink, going into the pink thing, because it really is a nice, essentially what we're doing is we're picking yellow and we're moving it towards blue, right? And we're working our way towards blue. Like at one end of the spectrum is yellow, at the other it's like this blue. And what we need is like the reds and the purples in between, you know? We're moving up to, like, this is your color family, you know? If you were to put like a really dark green, like this green, it wouldn't fit within the family. So that's what I was gonna go to next, is like to figure out what colors fit within the family as well. What you can do is like, so green is kind of close to orange, which is the color that we have here. So we can move it a little bit towards orange. I really want to make these eyes really pop. So we can do them. Like for example, that white felt a little bit outside of what we were going for in this piece, you know? Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit too much. Am I not? I need to like recenter. Keep it in the family kind of things. I'm back, almost died in the process. I'm glad you didn't, Rodrigo. I can't have my fucking subscribers dying on me. 100% death rate. But do you know what I mean with keeping it in the family? You kind of have sort of like a more nuanced transition from one thing to the other. It's the streaming stress, but you're cohesive. Don't worry about it. Thank you, Lou. Thank you for saying that, actually. It's really, it's really helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the meantime. This orange here that you picked, it feels kind of muddy, you know? When transitioning from a very, like two very different colors, because what this is essentially here is a transition between this orange and the night sky, right? So you're transitioning from sort of here to here. And what we need to do instead of making it, kind of darker and more orangey is we gotta follow the path that took us there. So what we can do instead is like pick this one, which is a little more red, and pick this one that's a little more purple. And that way we'll create a more natural like transition from one thing to the other, you know? Yo, Crow Fisher here. I was wondering if it's okay to review my stuff on stream, or would it be best in private? It's okay on stream. About the color family, how do you know what your family is? How do I apply that to my work? I was thinking that the top plane of the cave looked odd to me. That helps tremendously. Oh, the cape, yeah. Yeah. The color family thing. I think usually paintings have one main color and then they have like a secondary color. So for example, this one has blue, right? It's very clearly blue. This one has blue as in the background, and then it has this purple and this orange. It's like a sort of a transition thing. And the color family can be anything you want, really. Like, let me look at another illustration, for example. One that has more colors. Okay, maybe this one? I'm honestly, it's kind of complicated to tell. It's basically like picking three colors or two, you know, and that is the color family that you've picked. So for this one, when you zoom out, you can kind of tell, right? It's this orangey, yellow, and this blue. It's like the main ones. And maybe this red as a third one, which is kind of related to blue. And it's kind of similar to the one we got in this illustration as well, right? You know? When things are, you gotta, it's, oh my gosh, I really don't know. I'm so bad at explaining these things. It's like you just feel it. You just feel it. Do you feel it? Do you feel it with me? I feel it. Like a color gamut. I don't know what that is. A gamut. In that case, you can review the last portrait image I've sent you in the DMs if you have the time. Okay. So it's sort of like a natural transition because it can be anything. You have those rules of like complementary colors and color combinations that look good. Sort of like orange will look good with blue because they're complementary colors, and that's like something that looks good, appealing to the eye. You have these rules, but these are like the fundamentals for color family. You know what I mean? They're like color families that will work really well. Usually, you have really bright colors, really contrasty colors in most paintings, and it will be around those color families. Like this one is exactly the same color family, but look how different these three illustrations are, right? But it's all based on the idea that red or orange looks good next to blue. So what I would suggest for people who are starting out is focus on these complementary color combos and get comfortable with them, and then try to think about them as color families, and you will start to grasp how things work better with you. Yes, I get it. I know how it feels when it works, but I just wanted to know how to apply it, how to avoid colors that don't fit. Okay. So usually colors that don't fit are because any color can go anywhere. Let's be honest. Like green can be in this painting. Of course it can. But it will have to undergo sort of a surgery or an adaptation to really fit within the family, It's kind of like how you have a ball that's blue or a ball that's orange, and you shine a light on it that's blue, and that will create the middle of the color, Or if you have a green, like a green color that would be here, this one, it's gonna have to be adapted to fit the family to be more orangey kind of thing, you know? That way it doesn't, you know, come out as strange. Like you just approach it a little more towards yellow. Right. But I think you sort of I've grasped really well a lot of things in this painting, and I think you understand, you know. Basically the things that I wanted to say was more about the background and correcting the colors a little bit, just shifting them a little bit. Damn, would have to actually be doing something for me to really grasp the idea, but I kind of get it. Yeah, there's some things that I just, you know, I can tell you about these things, but I think ultimately it's something that you need to try out and see what you're struggling with, kind of, you know. It's not a very, like, a very rewarding answer, but unfortunately it's the one I can give you for now. That nose rim light, though, really carves the shape out so nicely. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It's really good. You got really good shapes in this one. And Rodrigo, you really fucked me up with like, well, but how do you do it? And I'm like, uh, uh, you know, got me fucked up. Right, so this is it. This is my review for this one. And the pink, I feel like the pink here is important, you know? It kind of it transitions from the blue to the it's like a middle ground from the blue to the orange. Sorry, it wasn't my intention. I know it wasn't. Don't worry. I mean, it wasn't even your bad. It's just me. Thank you so much for your time. It really worked your magic on my drawing. Oh, I barely did anything. It looks really nice. I really like this painting. I hope you finish it because it's very cool. Right, so on to the next one. Rodrigo, you're next. Okay, here it is. So, is there something in specific that you want me to focus on, Rodrigo? Or do you just want me to go at it? I just think your work is really good and I want to absorb as much as I can from you. Yeah, don't worry about it. Okay. This looks kind of like a Warframe design, doesn't it? Like Christ alive. Transform. Flip horizontal. I have two pieces that I took inspiration from. Will you upload the paint overs on Discord? I will. I will upload all the paint overs on Discord. Hello, Jan. Funny you should say that. I think this one with this one I think it's more about the big, medium, small that I'm seeing, and also some values that I'm seeing. These are your inspirations, the one you sent me? Okay, so this is really cool. I really like this. I like this a lot. This one has such a nice style to it because the further you go far from the camera, it becomes more sketchy. It's really cool. So for this type of sci-fi thing, I tend to focus more on the shapes and how they feel to me. So like I mean, it's the same for fantasy, I suppose, but this one is feeling a little right. So let me do the paint over first, and then I'll tell you. Let me get a reference first. I want to look at a Warframe. Warframe. What do you want, cat? Cat's here. Mesa. I want to look at Mesa. Because I like her design. The image. I'll put it right here. And check your DMs. I tried making it that way. Yes, I have another version that I finished. Okay. Is that the Ash Deluxe? Ash Deluxe? Is that a Warframe? My god, I'm out of touch. What the fuck's going on? So this is a pre-design that you're doing like a skin on, I'm assuming? I need some context. Old Warframe. Okay. I decorated it, then I took a screenshot and then painted it. Okay. I see. So nothing about the design you want changed. It's more about the structure of the drawing, correct? Ma'am, your art is amazing. I love it, but I need to go to sleep right now. Have fun. Please go to sleep home. Have a good night's rest. Thank you for coming. Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna treat this as a design that you've done and that I'm treating on top, because I don't know how the original really looks, honestly, so I'm just judging this drawing for now, just for the sake of drawsmanship and design. I won't change too much about it, but I can't you know, I just don't know about the design too well. Thank you for streaming and making art. Thank you for making art as well. I do like your art, Paul. I do like it. It's really nice. Have a good night. I sent you the skins that I used. The body is from the first one. The helmet is from the second one. Right. Oh, okay. Okay, I see. Okay. So, for this drawing, what I feel like is happening, it's that, which is normal for Warframe, I feel like, it lacks a little bit of hierarchy. So, I feel like the bottom feels very thin, but there's not a balance in that thinness, you know? So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to balance it out a little more. Because there's some areas in this design that kind of are subtle, but they balance the whole thing out. Things like the kneecaps and things like that, you know? And the fact that the shoulder pads are kind of broad. And there's this strip here. God, I'm making him a woman. There's sort of a chunkiness in the original that I find that it's necessary to really have these design elements. You know? It feels kind of chunky, the original. And we're kind of losing that chunkiness by thinning out some areas. So like for example, the forearms in the original feel very, sorry, I'm not reading chat. I'm sorry it had to be this drawing. It's the only one that I could come up with. No worries. Thicken up the bottom. Yeah, I will do so. The forearms, for example, they have this attachment on them that gives it sort of like a heaviness and an importance to it. And I don't want to hide the details that you have. So I'm gonna try to bring them back a little bit. And the thing that I was also struggling with is the values. So in this one, the values are very like, the shape that you have for your values is essentially like very dark at the top. Like actually, let's just duplicate this and make it small. And then make it big. Okay, let's not do that. Let me just filter and gradient map. Blur, actually. Motion blur. We're gonna... Do you see how in the blurred version, you can tell that it feels a little unbalanced? It feels like there's a big sort of diamond shape with arms. And then the bottom is very thin, right? And this could work if it was like an assassin, but even then you would need to kind of balance it out a little bit more, you know? So what I'm doing is I'm thickening up. What the hell? Oh, okay. Jesus Christ. I'm thickening up his legs and his arms to make him more sort of structured and um, you know, like solid. Have to go now, but thank you, Laura, for the paint over again. Awesome stuff. Thank you, Max, for coming. Let me see. Oh, Christ. What in God's green earth? Right. So, and what I really like about this like reference that you gave me is that lightens up the things that are farther away. So we can do the same thing here. And it creates sort of this gradient of importance, right? It refocuses our eye to the face, which is something that I'm going to tackle next, which is using these lights that you have as a crux to bring attention here. And what I want to do is I want to bring up the reflectiveness of the metal as well in the face. That's so cool, damn. Thank you. Oopsies. And we can even use the screen light to create that. Because I feel like a lot of the realistic lighting is all about subtle gradients, you know? Like little sudden shifts of gradients that you will see throughout the whole piece. But it's as simple as stylized, but it is more like realistic lighting, you know? Let me see. Also, I wanna give it some, because it feels like all the design is gray. Like that's all the design. It's gray, and then it has reflectiveness, and then it has these lights, right? So I want to bring some like different, something different to it, you know, just so we can some lighter material or lighter color to something so we can create more interest here. And these things, they're built on top of very, like you can see that I'm doing this very, very rough. But then you go in and you clean everything up and it becomes something that's realistic, you know? The metallic parts are kind of greenish. Let me see. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. You do have sort of a greenish like tint to this part. Let me do that then. this, and then it becomes like more complicated here. This. And now I'm not focusing too much on the detail. I'm just trying to give more of a overall, like overarching revamp. Let me see where you put the green as well. Yeah. Okay. I like this like bloom that you did here as well. It's cool. We can do that a little bit here. I think what happens to me is that I get lost in detail, try not to, but I always end up detailing more than I should, at least at the beginning of the process. I get that, you know. I really do. I tend to do the same sometimes, honestly. It's hard because you feel like that's so interesting and you want to do it so fast, you know. You just get lost in the sauce. But it's an exercise of doing it enough times. That's why I like soft round, because it avoids you. It really, like, you can't do it. You gotta build up everything first. You know? Also wanna do this, like, green here. And maybe do, like, this a little bit brighter. So it will be kind of like this. But yeah, that's kind of, I don't want to overbear you with too much like information, but essentially was correcting the values and kicking back the detail for now, you know, and refocusing, like fixing a little bit of the pose and managing the balancing out the silhouette of the character, right? Going from soft to hard, right? That came, that came out wrong. Yeah, because soft round, it just creates big decisions, right? And then you go in and you can really like start to munch out the small little details here and there, and really pick up small decisions that you've built, that you're building on top of something that you've created, you know? Like I could go here and start to really go ham on the material, you know, and really define these things. But you get it, right? You get it. That's not the important part for now. So that's it for Rodrigo. I hope it helped. Let me know if you have any questions, even after the stream. Now for the last one for today. It's gonna be Crow, right? Let me check. Yes, it's gonna be Crow. So, Crow, you want the second one, if I'm not wrong, right? I don't know if you're around still. Thanks a lot, it helped so much. No worries, I got you. I'm here, okay. So, Crow, you wanted the girl picture, right? The one you gave me. Yes, okay. So, finally, the girly. Honestly, I really like this picture. I think it's really pretty. You've painted her face really beautifully. I love how you shaded her. I love the nose. It looks so pretty. How you carved out her face. I really, I'm going to do a paint over, but I think you're doing really good with that. What is the style that you're going for more? Is it more League of Legends? Do you have like a specific painting that you are referencing? You know? Damn. Dan was right. Awooga. Oh, frick. I would say I really like the way. Oh, oh my gosh. Let me copy those names. Okay, I see. I see. So it's more like, yeah, your anatomy is really nice too. Okay, I see. I see. I understand. So this is more like realistic proportions, or not realistic proportions, but like really meaty rendering on the, little small details. Everything's very organized type deal. Okay. I learned a lot from them. That portrait is so cool. It is, right? This is one. This one was a test for myself to see what I can do from imagination alone. Oh, damn! For imagination, that's great. It's really good. Let me see. Now with the booba, I tend to have. I mean, I don't draw cleavage that much. I'm gonna be honest, but I tend to have sort of like a hierarchy for booba. And it's the one that's closest. It's like the material thing I said before about the the things that are. It's like a emulating a light coming from the camera, you know. And because the light is coming from the camera, it's casting a shadow on the booba, and it's making the one that's like closest to the camera have like shadow here. You know what I mean? This one, yes, I do spend a lot of time learning, relearning anatomy. Yeah, it shows. It shows. So one thing is that with the booba. The other one, it's relating to the colors. They feel a little cold, and I know this is a cold painting, but we can always add some warmth here and there to make it feel more like alive. So in places around here, I'd had it, and it kind of bleeds through, sort of like where the shadow meets the light. It bleeds through the color of her skin. You know what I mean? And they could look very pretty. Sort of like miniature paintings inside your painting. Do you know what I mean? I think we can kick back some of the contrast in some areas. and soften it up a little bit. With the booba, it's so funny the way you say it. uh, I really like these highlights that you gave there. I would just be tempted to make them actually colored, you know? Like how you did with the lips, it has sort of a color to it. Instead of using like pure white, I would shift the color a little bit and make it a little saturated. You know what I mean? So let me just pump up the saturation here a little bit. Could have gone with more reds for this one. I mean, it looks nice regardless. I do like how you're not afraid to go more desaturated with this, to be honest. I do like that sort of like realistic, you know, because I feel like sometimes there's so much saturation in these things that it's nice to make it more like realistic in that way. Like to go more towards the gray. I'm tempted. This is a stylistic choice, to be honest, but I'm tempted to make this lighter, you know, to make the back of her hair lighter. This is a stylistic choice, so it's purely optional. But since you have line art, you get to create this really high contrast. I think it would look really nice. Also, for whites, for using white in your picture, I would always saturate it a little bit as well. Because having pure white can be sort of, like, it can take you a little bit out, you know, of a color. It can feel a little, and you, honestly, for the hair, it looks really nice. I'm still going to saturate it a little bit because it feels a little too grayish for me, but it can be also a stylistic choice. It's not the end all be all. This is I'm saying all of this with the baseline of you understanding that this is a really nice painting, okay? Not gonna lie, I'm very afraid of overusing reds, which is something I gotta work on more. Dude's got his priorities straight. Could have gone with more red. Oh yeah, okay, I only read this now. For the metal as well, what I would do is is this metal? It feels kind of like bone as well, a little bit. I would pump up the highlight a little bit and sort of shift it into into the colors that you already have, right? So, because right now this part is kind of bleeding into the background a little bit. And you could lighten up the background, or you could just keep it dark, you know, and lighten up the material a little bit more. I have no idea what really the outfit is, by the way. I was trying to give it a metallic bone-ish texture, and it kind of failed on it. You didn't fail. You didn't fail. It looks very nice. You didn't fail at all. I really like this outfit, actually. I wish we could see more of this as well, this part, because I like how you've distributed, like made this material. I want to see it a little bit more, you know? And maybe, oh yeah, you can see it over here as well. I like it. We could lighten it up a little bit. Feels a little too dark for now. So lighten it. Let me see. I think it could go like be jammed up in there or something. I don't know. And the same for the hair. It feels, or not the hair, the horns. If you want to use the same material, I know that you've had a U-shift here, and it looks really nice. I like it. So we could really extend it a little bit more and turn it more desaturated, but still have a little more color. Because I feel like this one is a little too... It's a little too desaturated. So instead of making it gray, you turn more into bluish. Like make the blue a little bit more pronounced instead of just pure gray. And that just adds a little bit extra, right? Same with these highlights. Like adding a little bit of color. Like this is pure desaturated. And I like it. I like it. Again, I like it. I like everything that you did here. So this is more of, again, a stylistic choice. One thing that I'll say about the hair is that it feels a little too, it feels a little scratchy at times. So I would try to simplify it a little bit more. Like instead of having all those lines, having just, you know, like when I don't know if you were here when I was describing the fur, but simplifying it a little bit. You already know this, actually. I can tell that you know, like in here it looks very pretty. You know? And you do, like these outer lines look so nice. It's just that extra, but you know this, like, you know. And you know, despite everything, I think, and I know it's bad, but AI does air really nicely, you know? Because it's more concerned with composition than it is with like the actual strands of hair. So what you can do is like steal back from AI and use a hair reference from them, you know, from it, not them. I worked on hair very recently, but I struggled with simplifying it most of the time. Hard to find appealing shapes in hair. Yeah, it's true, right? And I use AI pictures as, like stylized AI pictures as reference for hair a lot of times because it really does it very well for those things. And I just have it on the side and I, you know, kind of use it as a reference point for myself. But you did it very well here. Just glazing you up at this point. Yeah, machine hair is very graphic, yeah. But you know, this is kind of the gist of what I was what all I want to say, honestly, because you know that this picture looks very nice, looks very pretty. I would just amp up the saturation here and there. Don't be afraid to do it. But your anatomy's on point. Your faces are beautiful. You know, I really like the eyes as well. So pretty. But it's just a matter of material rendering a little bit more. Like not more, but with intent, right? It doesn't even have to be more or less complicated. It just has to be more poignant. And the saturation, that's it, honestly. Because the rest feels pretty good to me. So yeah, that's kind of it. I'm very jealous how you can render grin smiles on your portraits. Thank you. For the smiles, I usually think of the mouth as like 2 points and then the lip, right? And the bottom lip. And then when I want to do the smile, I darken the corner. And then I add the teeth, which usually have like a gap in between, right? So like this is where the nose would sit. And this is where the eye would sit. Kind of thing, So the basic part of the whole thing is the fact that there's sort of these like corners that darken the end of the mouth, right? Kind of thing. Do the Roblox smile? I actually don't know what the Roblox smile is. Is it like the one with the corner? Like the corner lift, it's like a smirk. Thank you so much. I have lots of information to try out in my next work. I hope it helped. It looks beautiful. All right. So I think that's kind of it. I will post the feedbacks, the final pictures, all in the chat of my Discord. So I will be seeing you there. And thank you so much for coming. That was it. That was my first review live stream. So thank you for coming, guys. I hope you have a good one. I will see you on the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.